Chiefs mailbag today starting off strong here. You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jace Andrews. And without further ado, it's time for the best part of the week. We're going to talk some Chiefs news, some Chiefs rumors, and answer some questions that you asked today. All right here on the Chiefs Report. Let's start with the first question coming from a real one, Tony Fuentes, saying, is there a way to bring back Eric Bieniemy? I think there is, but I think it's going to take some money that the Chiefs weren't willing to spend last year. And so I don't know if they'll be willing to spend this year. Bieniemy was bought out with Washington, and you got to kind of go in here and say, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of go out and get that guy back. Honestly, I think he's in line for a head coaching job somewhere at the end of the season. He's done pretty well with Washington for the weapons he's been given. Obviously, they're not great, but he's done okay with that offense. There is some part of me, though, they fire Ron Rivera, and he doesn't want to stay. Maybe he does come back to Kansas City. Maybe it does work out. We'll see, though. I will say I don't trust Matt Nagy. I don't trust him. The Bright Wolf, another real one, coming in with a question saying, draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I certainly would love to. That would solve so many problems. The only problem, that would cost an arm or a leg, and you don't have that. It would just take too much. I mean, I get it, you're 9-6, but at the same time, it's one of those things of how exactly are you going to trade to get to a top 5 pick, probably a top 3 pick to get Marvin Harrison? I mean, there's talk that the Bears may stick at 1 and just take Marvin Harrison there. I just don't see that happening. As much as I would love to, it doesn't seem like a possibility right now, which, hey, it's all right. Rashee Rice, the best wide receiver in this year's draft class for the Chiefs, was a 2nd-round pick, and he's been playing great. He's the best wide receiver on the Chiefs right now as a rookie. So doesn't always have to be a top pick to get a good wide receiver. Next question coming from Roasted and Toasted, saying, hashtag Chiefs, will Matt Nagy be fired after the season if the Chiefs don't figure it out? I think he will. I truly think if the Chiefs offense cannot figure it out, they're going to switch him out. Now, I don't know if they'll necessarily fire him. I don't know if it'll be one of those of maybe moving him to a different part on the staff, kind of like it was last year with Bieniemy, or move him to a different section. Let him go be a quarterback's coach. Let him go be somewhere else. I don't know if he'll do that because Andy Reid's a guy's guy. He likes his guys, and he wants to keep them on staff. So I don't know that I'll fire him and just let him go, but I would highly expect him to not be in charge of the offense if this does not get figured out within the next couple of weeks. Would you like to see Matt Nagy fired? I want you to let me know in the comment section of today's video. I am kind of curious to see how Chiefs Kingdom feels about this. We've seen some mixed opinions in all of this here. I want you to type F for fire. I want you to type K for keep. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. Would you like Matt Nagy to be fired or kept? F for fired. K for keep. Bright Wolf saying, get rid of Travis Kelce. Too focused on Taylor Swift, and it's ruining his game. I somewhat agree with this, but I think there's also something else that you may be missing. Kelce is getting up there in age, and he said earlier this year, I'm a lot closer to retiring than people think. I think there's age catching up to him, and to be quite honest with you, I think his life outside of football has just grown so big that it's sometimes hard to focus. And it's not just Taylor Swift. That's part of it, of course, but there's also talk of his podcast. His podcast with his brother is one of the biggest podcasts on earth right now. Like, New Heights is going to literal new heights. Like, it's taking off. It's making a ton of money. It's a lot to kind of handle. And obviously, he's been able to do it both. And past couple of years, he's understood it. But there is some part of it where if it's 3 of these things combined, you have Taylor Swift, you have his podcast going on, along with him saying, I'm close to retiring, more close than you think. Maybe there's some thought to that, his off-field life is just taking precedent right now, and that's his choice, unfortunately. But we'll have to see. I don't know that he will retire after this year, especially with the way it's gone. So we'll have to see, but I certainly don't want to get rid of Travis Kelce. I will say that. Luca coming in with the chat saying why they don't give Ross or James MVS's snaps. Yesterday, MVS had 80% of snaps, and he did nothing give Ross a chance. Yep, I appreciate Luca. Did want to say something. He said yesterday, we're filming this on our live show. So if you're watching this on Saturday, we're filming this on Tuesday of our live show. That's why he said yesterday. But MVS did have 80% of snaps versus the Raiders, which is kind of crazy because that should not happen. MVS had 80% of the snaps and had 1 target. What? This dude also lined up off sides, by the way, which I kind of looked at it. It wasn't really offsides. But either way, I completely am 100% agree with you, Luka. It's wild. Ross or Richie should be getting both of those snaps. I mean, it's one thing of MVS tests of the talent, but if Mahomes doesn't trust him, then he shouldn't be on the field. Completely there. That's one thing. But hey, hopefully we'll see what can happen here in the next few weeks. I do agree, though, hopefully seeing more of Richie James and Justin Ross. Well, I'll tell you what, we're filming this on Tuesday, but I know you're seeing this on Saturday, some of you. So wish everybody a happy new year in the comment section of today's video as, hey, tomorrow, if you're watching this on Saturday, it's New Year's Eve. And then guess what? We are in 2024. Crazy. Crazy to think about it. I want you to type HNY for Happy New Year in the comment section as it's going to be a fun time. And, well, let me know in the comment section there if you're supporting everybody's troops and using that HNY to wish everybody in Chiefs Kingdom a Happy New Year. I'm going to wish myself a Happy New Year's by going to Prize Picks and winning some of my entries. I'll tell you what. I've got my entry already placed for Saturday, and I'm telling you, it's a heater. It's a heater. Now, Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and that's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Here are my Saturday picks for tonight's game, as I've got Jared Goff, the more on passing yards. I've got Dak Prescott, the more on passing yards, and I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, the more on passing, or rather receiving yards. I'm going more across the board. We've seen that when Dallas plays a game inside of Jerry's World, inside of AT&T Stadium, the offense tends to go off, and I think the bad defense of the Lions will probably help with those yardage for Dak Prescott. But I will say this, the good offense of the Lions will probably break this Cowboys defense. So go check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And if you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. What makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app? Once again, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS for a first deposit match of $100. Go check it out. Next question coming in from Shad Jameson saying, besides wide receiver, where's the Chiefs' biggest weakness? That's a good question. I think there's a lot of ways I think you might be able to go with this. But at the same time, I think this one's more to injury. I think it's probably safety is probably what I would say. I like Mike Edwards. I like Joshua Watson, but I just don't know who behind them. Like, Justin Reid is good. Mike Edwards has been pretty decent. Brian Cook was injured, though. I think that's probably the one thing, because the offensive line has been solid up until this past game against the Raiders. Obviously, the Titans have been great. Obviously, wide receivers taken out of it. Defensive line has been great. You have really good names like George Karlaftis and other guys who are stepping up, even with Chris Jones still there. You have your linebacker core of Drew Tranquill and Nick Bolton, who are doing great, and Willie Gay Jr., Leo Chenal, all playing amazing. Your cornerback room of L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie are playing great. You have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. I would say safety is probably the one. It's kind of hard, though, because with safety, you have injuries with that, with Brian Cook, something that may be the one problem, but I would say safety would probably be the one. Travis Fan 87 coming in here with the next question, right? Got the next question rolling in here. I think we have. There it is. Travis Fan number 87, as he says, who do you blame for the Chiefs' struggles this year? Bouncing right back off that question, kind of in a way. A wide receivers are the first one, but there has to be some blame placed on Brett Veach. He ultimately designed this team. He was the one who ultimately said, we don't need a wide receiver, guys. We won last year without him, right? And now here we are, 9-6. I think there has to be some point where you have to look at this team and say, Brett Veach did not do his due diligence to come out here and basically say, I care about this team. Say, I want to put my time in this team. It didn't seem like he did that. All he did was draft Rashee Rice, who's been great. But their first-round pick, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, has barely seen the field. I don't know, man. I think it's a lot of things that you could probably put a blame on. Maybe Andy Reid a little bit. Maybe Matt Nagy probably a lot. But Brett Veach has to be one to start taking a little bit of this backlash. Let's go to the next question here. This one coming from Luca. Once again, Luca, what's up, man? Put Matt Nagy as QB coach if he is good with Mahomes, but he can't be OC or head coach. I completely agree. It's kind of what I was saying a couple minutes ago of if Matt Nagy is going to stay on the squad, it'll be as a QB coach, which I think Patrick likes Nagy for the most part. And Nagy has been okay as a QB coach. I don't mind that. Put him there. That way he's still on staff, but he should not be scheming the offense. Now, the problem is, are you really going to go tell that guy, hey, you're going to be the QB coach and expect him to stay? I don't know about that. I mean, could he go get an offensive coordinator position somewhere else? Maybe he just quits. We'll have to see, though. I would like that, but there probably has to be a little bit of kind of pride to this, so we'll have to see. Last question here. Let's go. TH saying we should use Kadarius Toney as a Debo-type player. I could not have said this better. I keep saying that Kadarius Toney should just be Debo. Like, literally, give him the jet sweeps. Give him the snaps. Give him the screens. Don't let him go downfield. Just screens and running plays. Now, Debo can go down the field, but I don't think we should use Kadarius Toney that way. But jet screens, sweeps, I love that idea. I think that would be great. I think that would make this team so much better. And Kadarius Toney would be such a better player. He's a gadget player. That's what he's been his career. Use him that way. And then once that starts rolling, once he gets his confidence back, then you can start trying to implement some deeper routes, some longer routes, some mid-range routes even. Just anything to get this guy going. Like the video if you want the Chiefs to beat the Bengals as we end today's live show and in today's mailbag here. We appreciate everybody watching on the live show. We appreciate everybody watching on the mailbag as we appreciate all your support all year long. And it's still not over yet. We appreciate you. Peace out, Chiefs.